Did you know Bruno was the first Elite Four member to be shown on screen? Or that he crushed Red in the manga? And he was brainwashed into wiping out all humans. And he would have done it if it weren't for those meddling kids. We all thought he was just the guy you call when your local mountain needs a good punching. But this strong, silent slab of man meat is ready to slap the crap out of any main character, with his rock-hard abs and unreasonably long rock snake that he's prepared to whip out anytime, anywhere. Bruno was born and raised probably in some mountain range. It's not explicitly stated where he's from, however, the evidence points towards Bruno being from Kanto, as that's where he's always seen. Whether it's training, battling, or becoming one with nature, he's one of the OG Elite Four members in Kanto and Johto, a fighting type specialist, though that claim is immediately undermined by his unnecessary amount of onyx. Or onyxes? His ace Machamp is almost as jacked as him, which he uses to fulfill his purpose in joining the Elite Four in the first place, to battle the best trainers possible. He seems to be in his early 30s, he has long black shaggy hair, and wears a worn and torn gi, coupled with his black belt indicating his hard work or maybe exposes his Amazon addiction. He appears tough in most versions and absolutely jacked in other versions. Bruno's name is derived from Brawn, Bruiser and Brunt, illustrating him as a musclehead, while his Japanese name Seba is from Shiba, meaning zoysia grass, symbolizing his love for nature, and Shibaku, meaning to strike, symbolizing his love for martial arts and fighting type Pokemon. It's heavily implied in various sources that Bruno lives a monastic lifestyle, probably inspired by martial arts tropes in Japanese media. Think less gym bro and more Shaolin monk, with gains. His design and philosophy are rooted in a mix of Bushido, the way of the warrior, and ascetic mountain training. A real-life tradition in Japan where monks would retreat to the wilderness to purify their bodies and souls. Only Bruno seems to have skipped the soul part and gone straight for the body. He's the Pokemon world's version of Yamabushi, a mountain hermit warrior, only with more Machamps. In many ways, Bruno mirrors the karateka archetype that became popular in Japanese media during the 70s and 80s. Imagine the stoic martial artist who seeks inner peace through endless combat. He represents that belief that physical mastery leads to spiritual enlightenment, or in Bruno's case, wrestling an onyx a day will unlock the secrets of the universe. Bruno is present in all Kanto-based games as the second Elite Four member, and Johto-based games as the third Elite Four member. He's not present in Generation 3, but it is stated in the fame checker that he once trained with Brawly, the second Hoenn gym leader. So he probably roamed and ended up in Hoenn and found Brawly, who is a new generation of Bruno. When you enter his room, it looks a lot like Brock's, which is interesting as Lorelei's room resembles Misty's. There are rocks all over the side of the room, giving the feeling of a mountainous region. Quite fitting as he's the martial artist who loves exploring the mountains and finding himself. Fire Red and Leaf Green really changed this appearance to a basic Pokemon battlefield with stone pillars that appear broken. So he probably uses them to train? Let's Go is pretty much the same, but the stone pillars are fixed and the ground is broken from the previous battles. In Generation 2, his room has lava flowing at the sides, making him appear as an intense guy. One that uses the heat to further intensify their training. You know, being comfortable in uncomfortable situations and all that. In Red and Blue Generation 1, he shows up with two Onyxes, a Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, and a Machamp. Question: how does a fighting type specialist justify two rock types? Answer: he does not. He just grunts and throws them at you. Generation 2 continues this Onyx nonsense with no regrets, but at least he only has one, the other one being replaced by a breakdancing Hitmontop. The battle with Bruno is usually one that you'll need to be prepared for. The Onyx is just a starter for what's to come. Hitmonlee, who'll be fly kicking you in the face, Hitmonchan, who's ready to boost his 10% status effects to 100% with those pesky elemental punches. Hitmontop, who'll be digging and digging and digging. And of course Machamp, who's just so damn bulky. Or in Johto, going to catch you off guard with no guard. Seriously, how many of you got caught by a move from this guy while using Fly? I always thought Rock Slide hit me because the rocks are coming from above, you know, where the Pokemon flies. Turns out, Pokemon have abilities. Who would have thought that? How many of you tried to stall until he missed a cross chop? Well, not gonna happen. By the way, that move has a super high critical hit ratio, so good luck. Bruno's anime debut is in the very first episode of the original Indigo League series, and it is iconic. He shows up in a tournament and it seems like he just won it. It's not confirmed that this is actually Bruno, but come on, look at him, plus the Onyx. Definitely Bruno, but I think it's probably some random trainer design that they ended up liking and giving to an important character. In his very first official appearance, Brock and Ash are watching Bruno battle on TV, hoping to learn the secret to his strength, until Misty turns the TV off and tells them to get a job. Ash's mum then snakes out Bruno and gives them his location, Mount Hideaway, acting as if it's a rumor. How on earth does she know his location? I guess she's into men that run away from their families. They go to Mount Hideaway and feel like the rumors are just rumors, until a colossal Onyx starts chasing them and a random guy behind a rock tells them to get behind the same rock too. That guy turns out to be Bruno. When you see him, you just know that he's a mountain man. Ash and crew start creeping on him and he's like, "Don't you guys have better things to do?" Ash and Brock get down on the ground and beg him for help, and he agrees if they pass his challenge. He makes them fill up water buckets and carry them up the mountain to develop inner balance and outer equilibrium. Split wood to get a firm grip, to which Misty takes a shot at Ash.
Ash needs to learn how to get a grip.
And carrying stones up a hill to control physical nature and therefore inner nature. Ash clearly cannot handle Bruno's tasks. Then he tells them to peel bark clean off of twigs, which Ash finally succeeds in doing. Yay! His first challenge that he completed. But that one was a trick because he forgot his fork and chopsticks at home. Ha. Good old Bruno and his exploiting of poker children. Classic. Ash and Misty start thinking that there aren't any tricks. Brock is disgusted by that implication and says, "Watch this," bonks Bruno on the head and is like, "Wait a minute, why didn't you stop that? I thought you have a sixth sense." And Brock actually almost knocks him out. He reveals his reason for coming to the mountains to catch the biggest and baddest Onyx. Brock is disappointed as he's doubting there's a secret. The giant Onyx later goes on a rampage thanks to Team Rocket doing useful things. And then they come together with some amazing strategies never seen before to take down the Onyx. Like this by Brock.
Onyx, tackle attack! It's no use!
Onyx tail smacks everyone. And of course, Ash falls down and closes his eyes like a little princess waiting for his prince to come rescue him and give him a kiss. Luckily, Prince Bruno jumps down and back up the cliff like it's nothing. He tells them that he actually has the power to defy the laws of physics. Well, actually to recall their Pokemon, as he's going to handle this like a man. They anticipate his fighting Pokemon, but like a real madman, he's ready to wrestle that 35-foot plus rock snake by himself. He actually does better than all of the Pokemon, dodging every attack and making Onyx hit itself, which is the real damaging blow in this battle. He gives Onyx the talk, uses his spidey senses to sense what's wrong, and rips a sand slash out of Onyx, relieving its pain, gaining its trust, and therefore a trusty addition to his team that we never see again. Yeah, quite disappointing. He also reveals his true secret, which is Pokemon and humans should work together and care for each other, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's it. Alternately, in Pokemon Origins, he's briefly seen battling Red Scyther with his Onix, and of course Onix would lose, wouldn't it? In Pokemon Generations, he's portrayed as a kind of crazy guy that just wants to fight. He gets excited with the other Elite Four members when they hear that there's a challenger on the way that has collected all the badges. So we're ready for a real battle, but actually Blue just smokes him in half a turn and he catches his Machamp as it goes flying into the wall. Just take a moment to look at how sauced up this guy looks. His muscles are growing muscles. He's even more jacked than his Machamp. Manga Bruno is a bit more ruthless. He's first seen with the other Elite Four members observing Red and Blue's battle for the championship. A few years later, he's in Northwest Kanto, training in the mountains. Lorelei pays him a visit to call him a gym bro and tells him to ease up a bit. She informs him that Red is the champion and that she sent him a challenge letter from Bruno. Red is seen accepting the challenge, and it's stated that no ordinary trainer can stand up to Red now. But Bruno is clearly not an ordinary trainer. Red heads off to battle Bruno. And there's a big skip as Pikachu walks into Oak's lab, badly wounded, leaving Oak to conclude that Red got pummeled by Bruno. Bruno is shown in the mountains. I'm starting to think he lives in the mountains, looking for Red, as he's the only opponent to make his blood rush to his Dingodile.
Good day, mates.
And he finally reminisces of what actually happened. Red is at his challenger's requested location, looking for the challenger, when Bruno jumps out of nowhere on an Onix, of course, and introduces himself as an Elite Four member. I kinda like how Red isn't phased at all, but then it turns out he doesn't even know what the Elite Four is, which is hilarious. Red asks why Bruno sent the letter, even though it's obvious as hell Bruno has gone full NPC mode and just praises Red in his native caveman dialect. You strong, unga bunga. Red said he got bored after becoming champion and hasn't felt this alive since the battle with Blue. Red is getting real sick of his nunchuck shenanigans, not sure if he's being annoying or changing Pokemon, and he slaps Hitmonchan up. Poliwrath seemed to be doing well until it randomly fell because Hitmonchan was using hidden double elemental punch. I'm pretty sure you can't use two moves at the same time. Next up is Onix versus Gyarados. Lorelei and Agatha appear in the background watching. Onix is being a menace to Gyarados. Gyarados is withdrawn and Venusaur is sent out. Bruno gets a mad headache while Lorelei and Agatha laugh in the background. They say that all humans will never stop destroying Pokemon habitats, causing the eventual extinction of Pokemon. So they cannot coexist, except for the Elite Four, as population moderators, of course. They reveal that they called him out because they need all the badges to realize their plan, and they're missing the 8th badge because Giovanni is a slippery snake. Red's the last one to see the holder of the 8th badge, which makes him the logical victim to get that information from. Red doesn't know where Giovanni is, and they reveal their second objective to test him, to see if he's worth recruiting, and he passed with flying colors. Of course, Red rejects, and Lorelei says that's a shame because she only asks once. And Red looks like he's starting to question his choice, as he could have gotten intel. I don't know why protagonists always have to tell the truth. Can't they just lie to make their jobs easier? And then, I don't know, turn their backs on the Elite Four, get some intel or something. She pulls together a triple finish style attack, but with ice fighting and ghost types, then pulls out a voodoo doll and puts Red on a freeze timer. She whips out a voodoo doll of Pikachu too, and starts poking it. They deem Red as good as gone, so they leave the rest to the caveman Bruno, who uses Hitmonlee to beat Red the hell up. He says, "Pikachu, get the hell out of here," before he completely freezes. So that was the flashback, and now we're back to the present. Lieutenant Surge is seen with Bill, looking to deal with an Elite Four member. Lieutenant Surge is pissed. as one of them annihilated Vermilion City. He reveals that he was going to lure the Elite Four by saying Red is hiding in Vermilion, but Yellow screwed over their plans. They crossed the nearby pond by taking a bridge which turns out to be Onyx. I wonder whose Onyx that could be. I'd like to point out that Bill falls briefly in the pond and is saved by a Magikarp using Splash. So I guess the move isn't useless after all. The pond turns out to be acid or a mucus that was starting to melt his shoes, so the Magikarp literally saved his life. Then, surprise, it was Bruno's Onyx, and the battle commences. Blaine and Yellow find Lieutenant Surge and Bill trying to damage Bruno's Onyx in battle with Vulpix and Electabuzz. Great choices, boys. They're anxious about what his other Pokemon are since they suspect that they will be at a huge disadvantage regarding typing. Just then, Bruno withdraws his Pokemon because he doesn't believe in winning by type advantage alone. Truly a noble Pokemon trainer. They're getting cooked, so Yellow and Blaine try to attack the wall separating them from the battle, to no avail. Bruno starts talking in third person about himself, and Surge starts feeling the pressure of the Unga Bungas and compliments Bruno as a serious fighter. The problem is mainly that he has a crybaby Bill on his team though. Surge resorts to the tricky stuff he's known for and runs away while setting Execute and Electrode traps to detonate as Bruno chases them. Now that is the Lieutenant Surge we know and love. By the way, check out my video on him. This was pretty badass as various explosions and self-destructs go off, while of course, Surge had his Magneton create an electrical safety pod to save him from the fall. Bill is upset as he believes the explosion caused Bruno to fall in the acid, causing him to perish. Just then, a familiar leg wraps around Lieutenant Surge and pulls him in. Bruno confirms that he didn't actually fall, but he is enraged now as he opens his eyes for the first time in the manga. And he's out for blood as he yanks Surge towards the acid. I love his loyal Magnemites that go charging in trying to save him, but unfortunately, they all get wiped almost instantly. So Surge falls down into the acid with nothing to save him, except something grabs him again, and this time, it's Venusaur. Yes, the hero has arrived, and he's ready to save the day. The real battle begins, and Bruno starts getting mad headaches again. I love how Lieutenant Surge looks relieved at this point, like he knows that he's saved. His mad headaches are revealed to be Agatha's ghastly mind control. Kind of OP. Bill gives great advice. Watch out, Red, this guy's strong. To which Red replies, do you do anything useful? But he actually says, yeah, I know, which is basically the same thing. Red says to Surge, leave this guy to me, we have some unfinished business. He's ready to throw down. And so he does. Hitmonchan's throwing down with Venusaur, using his famous triple elemental punch. Red just tells him, I can do that too, and sends out his Eevee, who can change its typing at will, so I guess it evens out with Hitmonchan's elemental hacks. No, actually, this is way more hacks, as he changes to Flareon to counter the Ice Punch, then Vaporeon to attack. Bruno is like, what the hell is going on? You can't do that during battle. Red says, you can blame Team Rocket for this mutation, and also get bent, I'm a main character. While those two are duking it out, Poliwrath and Machamp start going at it as testosterone levels hit a peak in the series. Bruno tells Machamp to take off his belt to get manlier. Bill and Surge are shocked because they think they're about to see Machamp's dongle, but his underwear didn't fall. It was more like a power storing belt, which Machamp kept on because nothing was hard enough of a battle to need the stored energy. Kind of like weighted training clothing. Basically, he needed a big release. This is starting to sound a little bit dirty. This is like a complete one-sided beatdown from Machamp at this point, taking out Poliwrath while Hitmonchan is the cheerleader. Vaporeon has been liquefied while Poliwrath is down for the count. Bruno claims victory until he realizes he didn't actually hit Vaporeon. It was using its acid armor to melt itself and avoid the attacks. Vaporeon solidifies itself, transforms to Jolteon with the Thunderstone, and pin missiles the ever-living dog piss out of Machamp and Hitmonchan at the same time. Red is victorious. Bruno is astounded by all the BS in that battle, but most importantly is overjoyed at his opportunity to battle such a strong opponent. He says that he never really cared about the Elite Four's plan of building a new world. He just wanted to battle strong guys. He says if Red's friends are as strong as Red, then they'll probably beat the rest of the Elite Four. Red gives him the whole humans and Pokemon should work together to improve and get stronger. Bruno likes this and takes it all the way to the anime. While many ghost or psychic trainers in Pokemon draw on the mystical, Bruno stands as the human counterpoint. The man who transcends the supernatural through raw willpower. In a world of magic and monsters, he insists that pure human strength still matters. In that way, he's almost folkloric himself. Less a man, more an eternal archetype. The humble warrior who believes the body can become divine. So while Lorelei commands ice, Agatha commands ghosts, and Lance commands dragons, Bruno commands discipline. And occasionally, a Machamp that will yeet you into the next plane of existence. Thank you everyone for watching. This one was really fun to put together. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment on what you enjoyed most about this video and what was the most interesting. Don't forget to let me know what you'd like to see next time, and I'll see you in the next video.